In this video, we're going to be learning about the order of operations. And if you look to the left on our screen, you're going to see this acronym PEMDAS, which stands for parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. And PEMDAS is going to tell us the order in which we should complete these operations when simplifying an expression, such as example 1. Now, next to multiplication and division and addition and subtraction, you'll see these yellow brackets. And at the bottom of our screen, we're going to see this rule that says for multiplication and division or addition and subtraction, you want to perform the operations by moving left to right. And I'll show you guys what that means as we work through the problems. But that's basically because multiplication and division are inverse operations and addition and subtraction are inverse operations. So you can always write multiplication as a division and vice versa, and you can always write an addition as a subtraction. So they're kind of similar operations, so that's why we're going to move left to right. So let's jump into example 1, which is 24 divided by 3 times 4 minus 5 plus 7. So we need to use PEMDAS in order to evaluate this expression. So we know from PEMDAS that multiplication and division come before addition and subtraction. And because we have a division and a multiplication, we want to work from left to right. So what that means is we're going to complete the division first. So even though M comes before D in PEMDAS, when we get down to multiplication and division, we want to move from left to right. So 24 divided by 3 is going to give us 8. And we are just going to carry everything else down with us. So I'm going to do everything in one step for these problems. Now we have multiplication, subtraction, and addition. So PEMDAS tells us that multiplication comes next. So we're going to do 8 times 4, which is 32. We have minus 5 plus 7. And now we're down to only subtraction and addition. So we move from the left to the right. So we're going to do the subtraction first. So 32 minus 5 is going to give us 27. And now finally, we're just going to add 27 and 7 to get our final answer of 34. Let's go through some more examples. So for this example, we have exponents and parentheses. And if we look at PEMDAS, we want to do what's inside the parentheses first. So that's where we're going to start. We're going to start with this 4 minus 2 in our parentheses. We're going to keep everything else the same. So 18 divided by 3 squared minus, and then 4 minus 2 is 2. And then we have plus 16. And now next we want to do exponents because that comes before division and subtraction and addition. So we are going to evaluate 3 to the second power. And remember, raising something to the second power is just multiplying it by itself. So 3 squared is 3 times 3, which is 9. We have minus 2 plus 16. And now we want to do division next because it comes before addition and subtraction. So we're going to do 18 divided by 9, which is going to give us 2. So we have 2 minus 2 plus 16. Because we have addition and subtraction, we move left to right. So we're going to do the 2 minus 2 first, which is 0. So we have 0 plus 16, which leaves us with 16. Let's keep going through some more examples. So for this example, we have parentheses again, so we want to start with what's inside the parentheses. And within our parentheses, we have different operations. So we have to go back to PEMDAS to see what we want to start with within the parentheses. So we want to start with exponents because that comes before multiplication and subtraction. So we're going to evaluate the exponent part within our parentheses. So 4 squared is 4 times 4, which is 16. So 16 minus 2 times 7. And now we still need to fully evaluate what's inside the parentheses before moving on to anything else. So we're down to subtraction and multiplication in our parentheses. So multiplication comes first. So we have 20 minus 5 times in parentheses 16 minus 2 times 7 is 14. And now finally we need to finish what's inside the parentheses. So we need to do 16 minus 14. So we're going to keep the 20 minus 5. And 16 minus 14 is 2, and we're going to keep that in parentheses because there's no operation symbol between the 5 and the 2. And now what we have to understand is 5 parentheses 2 is the same as 5 times 2. So I'm actually going to write it like that so you guys understand. So this is 20 minus 5 times 2. So if you have two numbers next to each other where one is in the parentheses or both of them are in parentheses, it's just multiplication. So now that we're down to subtraction and multiplication, we want to do the multiplication first. So we have 20 minus 5 times 2 is 10, and 20 minus 10 is going to give us 10 as our final answer. Let's go through 2 more examples just to make sure we really got this down. So for these last 2 examples, I encourage you guys to pause the video and try them on your own, and then you can unpause it and watch me work through it to make sure that you've done them correctly. So for number 4, we're going to start with what's inside the parentheses, and we have division and multiplication. So we want to move left to right. So we're going to start with the division within the parentheses. So we're going to keep everything else the same. So we have 6 plus 4, and then in parentheses, 36 divided by 6 is 6. So 6 times 2 minus 12 plus 2 to the third. And we want to finish what's inside the parentheses before we move on to anything else. So we have 6 plus 4, and 6 times 2 is going to give us 12 minus 12 plus 2 to the third. Now we want to move on to exponents, so we're going to evaluate 2 to the third power. So we're going to keep everything else as is. I'm going to write the 4 next to the 12 as 4 times 12, so you remember that's what it means. Minus 12. 2 to the third is 2 times 2 times 2, which is going to give us 8. Now we've got addition, subtraction, and multiplication. So we need to do multiplication first. So we have 6 plus 4 times 12 is 48, minus 12 plus 8. And now that we're down to addition and subtraction, we just move from the left to the right. So we're going to do the first addition first. So 6 plus 48 is going to give us 54, minus 12 plus 8. And now we're going to do this subtraction next. 54 minus 12 is going to give us 42, plus 8 is going to give us a final answer of 50. Let's go through one last example. So for this last example, we've got parentheses again, so we want to start there. So we're going to start with this 5 minus 3 in our parentheses. So we're going to keep everything else as is. 12 divided by 6 minus 3. And then in parentheses, 5 minus 3 is 2, and that is raised to the second power, plus 4 times 8. And now we have exponents, so we want to do the exponents next. So we have 12 divided by 6 minus 3. And this 2 is the only thing that's being raised to the second power. The 3 is not being raised. So 2 to the second power is 2 times 2, which is 4. We have plus 4 times 8. And now I'm just going to rewrite this as 12 divided by 6 minus 3 with a multiplication symbol between the 3 and the 4. So we remember that that's what that means. And now we've got division, addition, subtraction, and multiplication. So we're going to do division and multiplication first, and we want to move from the left to the right. So we're going to do 12 divided by 6, which is 2, minus 3 times 4, plus 4 times 8. We need to do the multiplications next, so I'll do one at a time. We'll go left to right. So 2 minus 3 times 4 is 12, plus 4 times 8. We'll do the next multiplication. So we have 2 minus 12 plus 4 times 8 is going to give us 32. And then let's bring this over here so that we have a little bit more space. So I'll rewrite it, 2 minus 12 plus 32. And we're going to go left to right with the subtraction and the addition. So we're going to get some negatives here. So 2 minus 12 is going to give us negative 10 plus 32. And remember, negative 10 plus 32 is the same as 32 minus 10, if you want to think about it that way. 32 minus 10 is going to give us 22 as our final answer. So hopefully this video helped you guys understand the order of operations. You just have to remember this acronym PEMDAS, and then you have to remember that for multiplication and division, or addition and subtraction, you want to perform the operations by moving left to right.